Es un placer para mí, Gabriela López, estar con ustedes y tener esta conversación en línea con Tom McSorley, director del Canadian Film Institute. Esta entrevista se va a conducir en inglés para que llegue a mayor número de personas, aquellos que están interesados en conocer nuestro idioma y la cultura latinoamericana. Tom McSorley, Executive Director of the Canadian Film Institute, welcome and thank you for having this conversation with us.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Obrigado. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here as usual with you.
Thank you. I saw that you gave us the Brazilian hint for a great movie that we can see this year, huh?
Absolutely. The Brazilian film is very, very strong. It's called Private Desert. And it's a very surprising story about a policeman who has been suspended because he's been overly violent. So he's having some troubles in his life. He's kind of in his early 40s. He deals with a father who has dementia and a sister who's kind of a wayward, character. So he's having a lot of struggles in his life. And he has a relationship, an online romance going with a woman somewhere in the north of Brazil. And then she stops responding to his communication. So and of course he's a policeman. So he's concerned about, well, what's going on? So he decides, I won't tell you what happens, but he decides, I'm going to drive north and find her and see. And what he discovers is something very, very surprising. So I'm not going to spoil it.
We have to go and see the movie.
We have to go and see it. It is a wonderful film. So yes, that little hint of Portuguese, that's about all I have in Portuguese. I have a few other words, but that's about it.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a nice lead into the Brazilian film, which happens in the second on the second weekend of the festival. So we're thrilled to have it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's great to be back in the real world. As you know, we were on, and you were at most of the screenings last year. We had an online event, which was very successful, but I really missed the social aspect of particularly of the Latin American Festival. And we had to cancel, of course, in 2020 because of the pandemic. So for 2022 to have the ability to gather, and we're going to be very safe with, masks and vaccine passports and everything, those will still be in place just to make everybody feel comfortable. Even with that, it's still great that we can actually gather together and see these movies to travel to Latin America on the big screen with big sound. And not have to keep looking at our TV screens in our homes, which is great, but this is greater.
It's greater. Yeah, I agree with you. So congratulations for the 25th.
Thank you.
Well,
it is hard to believe. It's hard to believe that when I started this thing in 1997, the 20th century, we've now shown, we will have shown at the end of the festival over 300 films from Latin America in Ottawa. And from 20 different countries in Latin America, North, Central, and South, and have had 45 to 50 guest filmmakers come up to our city since 1997. So it's been quite a journey, and the community and the audiences and the fans of cinema have been really supportive of our work. So that's been really gratifying, and we're thrilled with this year's lineup.
And I think you're absolutely right. It's an opportunity to travel to other countries and to learn cultures. I love this festival because it takes me back home.
Right.
Where I was born, because Ottawa is home, but where I was born.
Sure, of course.
And to hear Spanish, Mexican expressions, and to hear accents, and to see places that maybe I've been in or I've heard from some of my friends in Ottawa. But also for those people, the people that don't speak Spanish, it's a great opportunity to practice.
Absolutely.
Learn different things about it. So invite those people that are not familiar with the Latin American films to come to the festival. Yeah,
exactly. It is one of the great, and we always place this festival in the springtime because the heat is returning. The sun is coming back. So we like to think of it as the south coming north to warm our bones after a long winter. And that's what we're doing again now in May. And it's really interesting, just as the dates fell in a particular way, that the opening day of the film is, of course, Cinco de Mayo. And we are opening the festival this year with Mexico, appropriately, because it's on Cinco de Mayo, with a film that also has to do with what you were saying about a Mexican biologist living in New York. He's, like, it's his home, but he travels back to his hometown, his home small town in Michoacan, to deal with some family issues. And of course, the past, comes back to him when he gets there. So it's a beautiful film about how we travel mentally and physically in life. And it's a beautiful evocation of not only urban America with New York City, but also rural, smaller village Mexico. And that this can make all of those things contribute to Mendel is the character's name. His identity is a hybrid one. And for us too, we're trying, part of the festival's ambition is to have a, cross-border communication and exchange between the South and the North and vice versa. So this is a film that perfectly captures that spirit. And we're also thrilled to have attending the screening, the opening night of the festival is Tenoch Huerta, who is the actor, the main star of the film, who plays Mendel. So it's an absolute thrill for us to welcome, and we thank the Embassy of Mexico for arranging his trip to Ottawa to be with us for the premiere of Son of Monarchs. It also involves, butterflies, so monarch butterflies are part of the story.
Yes, of course. It's a beautiful connection between what you say in North and South, and I always say that I feel like a monarch butterfly because I'm born in Mexico, but I came here.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Move. So I just want to read, because I love the sound of the names of the countries that are going to be present.
Sure, please do. Yes, I love to hear them too.
Uruguay. Colombia. Paraguay. República Dominicana. Cuba. Perú. Brasil. Panamá. México. Chile. El Salvador y Honduras. Those
yes.
13.
Yes, 13 countries. It's great. I mean, we can't wait to have it start, because it's one of those, like I was saying earlier, one of the events that I really look forward to through the years, through the calendar and the various festivals we do, is this one. One, because of course, the weather is better, but also the cinemas of those countries that you mentioned are so strong and are so impressive in the work that's been coming out of there over the last, 25 years really, is always something astonishing to watch and to present. And so my lucky job is to see a lot of this work and to bring this work to the screen here in Ottawa so others can see it. And as you said earlier, can travel into those magic realms that cinema is able to transport us into. So yes, 13 countries, 13 films. It's going to be an amazing festival.
And I want to thank you on behalf of everybody who follows your advice for the hard work, because your comments when you're on radio and today, it's always like, oh, what is Tom saying? Oh, I should go and see that movie. And there are great opportunities. So thank you for that great job you do.
Thank you.
Promoting films. So I want to ask you, 25 years ago, you started this. So you've seen an evolution and changes in the way films are being made, the themes, the directors. What would you say that is different now from what it was there, that it's like, okay, this is talking about a different generation and a different way of doing things?
Well, I would say the most dramatic change has been technological, and that is the movement from purely celluloid production to digital production, moving into, there was digital production in the 70s. It was more home video style. But now when digital technologies arrived in the early 21st century, it liberated a lot of filmmakers from the huge expense of making film. And that enabled a number of filmmakers to start making more, not more low budget, not unprofessional, but just more stories could be told because of this medium that was now very accessible. And a lot of experimentation with form started to happen as well. and a lot more socially conscious. There was always socially conscious cinema in Latin America for sure, and political cinema. But I think in the last decade in particular, we've seen a lot of films made about social justice, about the environment, about a number of issues, which were enabled in a way by this new digital technological set of options presented to, or that filmmakers have now, that they can make work in a whole different way than they used to, when you'd have to have 60 millimeter camera or a 35 millimeter camera, then a lab to process the footage. All of that has changed. And it's, I think, opened up a whole new set of possibilities for film artists, both in documentary and also in fiction making. I think that's, and some of them have, more veteran filmmakers have just adapted very, very beautifully to the digital world. If you think of last year, we showed The Devil Between the Legs by Arturo Ripstein, who is, in his 80s, and he'd make this beautiful film in the way that he makes it, because he's able to take advantage of the long takes that digital technology enables you to have. A long take. You can make a whole film in one take if you want to. You couldn't do that with film. So it's all these kinds of things that you see. But I think, what's interesting, having said that, most of over the course of, and I look back, I have been looking back at a lot of things we've been doing, it's very similar. Like, there's a lot of socially committed, politicized storytelling about, what's wrong. There's a lot of romance stories. There's some comedy all throughout the arc of the festival. It just kind of goes, the gradations change and shift, but there's always the same sort of impulse of the filmmaker and the film artists in Latin America to make relevant statements about the society they live in, and maybe even the history of that society and where it came from, where it's going. So all of those things it's funny that they're similar every year, except they're different too at the same moment, right? And we have that this year. We have a couple of historical dramas. We have comedy, more political. And we have political stories, and we have stories of transformation, and we even have this amazing film from Peru called Moon Heart, which is a sci-fi kind of fantasy film. So yeah, it's funny that, as I say to anybody who asks me about my job, I said, the festivals are always the same, and they're always different at the same time, because the content is different every year. And that's just the richness of what's happening in the film, in film culture, that yes, we're going to show a film from Paraguay each year, but each year that film will be different than the year before. So it's a fascinating process, and I think that there's the complexity of it is what makes it rich. And we try to make a festival that has every kind of experience in it. Like, you can laugh in one film. Like, we have a couple of very funny films, one from Honduras called Where is the Stork? It's about 3 women who want to get pregnant, and their husbands they're not sure if they want to be parents or not. We have a very funny film from Panama, which is about getting married, called Something Blue. And a very, very, very offbeat and funny little charming film from Uruguay called The Broken Glass Theory, which is a very funny film set in a small town. And there's this insurance man who has to go into this small town thinking it's going to be an easy job to do this job that he's been assigned, and he finds out it's much more complicated in a small town than he imagined. So you have everything from that to historical dramas from Cuba and from the Dominican Republic. So again, that's what I love about a festival, is that it gives you different kinds of film experience. We already talked about the Brazilian film and the Mexican one. So there's plenty to laugh at. There's plenty to think about. There's plenty of films that will, like, for example, the Colombian film, which is this beautiful documentary about ranchers who sing, and the songs of that landscape in the plains of Colombia. It's just a beautiful piece of work that is very eccentric. It's not a film you could sort of categorize very easily, but it's one of those, again, films that transports you into a whole world that you didn't know existed. And there it is for an hour and a half on a big screen with the big sound. So that's for me is the main goal of any festival, whether it's our European festival or the International Film Festival, is to give people a window to look out of into something that they would never otherwise have a chance to see. And I think the 13 films we've assembled this year, I think they do that job really well and in different ways. So I'm super excited for it to
yes, I am too. So
yeah.
I'm like, okay, which one I'm going to go and see? I want to go and see them all.
Of course.
Also, the Alma Duncan gallery, the room, it's very comfortable. I like the way it is designed. We have enough space between individuals because
yes, that's right.
Just
yes.
to leave one seat. But
yeah.
also, I understand what you're saying. I love going to the theater to have that moment where I am part of the screen and hear the reactions people have because, oh, maybe that person from Colombia understands that joke or that expression in a different way that I am getting.
Right, of course. Yes, that's the other great experience of it. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So no, that is great. The film sounds, the festival sounds great in the lineup that you have put together. So it goes from May 5th to May 13th.
That's right. And we have one day off. People get a day off on the Monday, including the staff, our staff, and the audience. Everybody needs a little break. So yes, so we go from the 5th to the 8th, and then from the 10th to the 13th. So 13 films, and we end on the 13th of May, which is yeah. We're going to take. It's a little over half attendance, but we're having the attendance limited again, just for safety.
Yes, I read that you have 150 people.
That's correct. Yes.
It is for 284.
That's right. So we're just being extra cautious. We want people to feel secure and safe, and we're hoping that people will feel that way, and then they'll come and see these amazing films because we also, like everybody's trying this in their own way in life, I think now, is to try to emerge out of this cocoon safely into what we used to know as normal life. So to the degree that we can help make people feel comfortable, that's what we've chosen to do. Not just say, no, it's all open because the province says it's open. No, it's like we're taking our time for everybody, including ours.
What I noticed during the International Film Festival is that everybody who was in the theater or at the gallery was following the rules.
Yes.
There were no issues. So
exactly.
We, as the audience, the public, we also have a big role to play in make spaces safe.
That's right. Absolutely right. Yes.
It's a beautiful building, the Ottawa Art Gallery.
It is, and we love our home, and we miss it because the last time we showed off Latin American cinema in that room, this is hard to believe, was May. Are you ready? 2019.
Oh, 19. Yes, right.
Yeah, I know. So welcome back, everybody, and I hope people will come out to see these amazing movies.
So thank you, Tom, for having this conversation. It's always a pleasure, and I'm sure that everybody heard something that, oh, maybe I should go and see this or that. So we wish my friend Ramon Sepúlveda and Rocio Medalla, they wish the festival all the success, all the team at the CFI, they are great people. So thank you for all the work. Congratulations for 25 years. You are very young, so
you're very
for the 50th.
You're very kind. I also want to thank you and the whole community, and I want to thank the embassies and the Gula for their support of the festival's growth, because without them we couldn't have done it. It's again the same. You have to go. I think you have to go through life this way. We're all in this together, so let's help each other and develop this beautiful event with our energy and our presence. So thank you so much for having me on once again on your wonderful show.
So yeah, community effort. Thank you again.
Thank you. Muchas gracias. Obrigado.
Hasta pronto.